Hello, and welcome to Me, My Friends, and I, the podcast where unlicensed adults give unsolicited advice with your host and new friend, Brittany.
The female is more subdued in coloring, but both sexes have two contrasting white wing bars and white sides to the tail. The male bird has a strong voice and sings from exposed perches to attract a mate. We saw a boy for show.
That sounds about right.
Oh, I have to create an account.
Yeah, don't create it.
Don't create an account?
No, it's not worth it.
To have a birding account?
My bad. Go ahead.
What's wrong with that?
Nothing's wrong with you. Go ahead and you be you.
You go be you. Take my joy, Brittany.
Go be you. I'll never take it. I'll never take it. So
just you wait. You're gonna become a birder. You're gonna be going up to Cold Spring and being like, "Look, a chaffinch."
Those words will never escape my mouth.
Why wouldn't they?
For what?
For fun.
Okay, a
chaffinch.
See, look, I'm struggling. Chaffinch.
A chaffinch.
Look, Lele.
We saw one today. You could check your first bird off.
It's like you... Okay, but honestly, the way you're describing it is making me feel good about this goal that I haven't even set. And now I'm setting it.
We could be in a birding group right now, Brittany. Like, you and I, we don't keep in touch that much, which is fine. But we could have a birding WhatsApp. Like, you, me, we'll find another person. We could just be the two of us where we send each other cute pictures of birds and be like, look what I saw today. It's this. Doesn't that sound wholesome?
Yes. And that leads me to my next point, which is you. You're very wholesome. You're a wholesome person, and we've begun. We have fully begun.
Have we begun?
Yeah, we've begun the cast for today. So everyone, I'd love you to meet the one and only Lay, Lizzie, Lay, all the things. Do you want to say hi?
Hi.
Oh my gosh, are you gonna get shy?
Am I gonna get shy?
Yeah.
What are we doing? Shy to whom?
I mean, everyone who's going to be listening.
Okay.
Some of them.
Hello, people who are listening. I guess I will be shy if I think about them.
Yeah, don't think about them.
I won't.
So right now we are in Lele's home. Y'all, give it to them.
Le chalet.
Le chalet. Y'all, I'm bilingual now. So go ahead, Lele. Just tell the people.
Okay, so Le Chalet is a little cottage in the backyard of Philippe and Monette, this very lovely couple here in Bois-le-Roi.
Bois-le-Roi.
Bois-le-Roi in Fontainebleau, in the beautiful forest of Fontainebleau, just south of Paris. And I live in this little chalet. And Brittany is here visiting me.
Yeah. Yay! Visiting.
And we're making curry.
Yes.
And the rice, like the alarm for the rice is gonna ding.
Yeah, that's totally fine.
Okay.
So I said I want all this. Can I stir it?
Yeah, stir it. Give it a little stir.
You know,
actually, would you also like just peek underneath that lid and see?
Funny how it went from like
see how much water's left. Just a little peeky.
I know how to make rice. I promise, but
I know you do.
It's just like, you know.
Is it done?
I don't know.
Oh, it's like, yeah, maybe
it's nearly done.
Give it a little mixy. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, a little mixy.
A little mix. Oh my god.
You gotta throw in the...
Girl, I need to get rid of these ants. These ants are they're not welcome. Oh, see?
See, the chaos.
The timing was like kind of perfect.
The chaos.
Oh my god, wow.
It's totally fine. So, we are in your chalet?
Yes. We went on a hike today.
Girl.
And we saw some amazing things. We saw a viper.
We saw a viper. Let's be clear. We didn't. I think the viper saw us before
Brittany
we saw it.
almost stepped on a viper.
You were closer to it, I think.
Really?
I think
you noticed
closer.
it first, though. So maybe I almost stepped on it.
I was anxious after that. First of all, I was anxious before when we were walking and I saw a log move because it wasn't a log. It was a snake, but it also wasn't a snake.
Okay, so then we also saw an orvet. I have no idea what it's called in English, but it's apparently not a snake. It looks like a snake, but it's actually a legless lizard, which I learned later on.
Yeah, that's hard to imagine, I think, for most folks, but look up could you say the word again?
Orvet.
Yeah.
It's like Corvette, but without the C.
Amazing. The people will look it up. Now, what's interesting, it makes sense, because when we saw it, it was struggling to go up like a mini hill.
It was like dancing on the pine needles.
Yeah.
Like it was just
That's a very
it
nice
was not
way to say
moving
it.
forward
It was
at all.
struggling.
But it was moving.
And then it like gained some traction. It looked like one of those 4-wheelers that like just couldn't make it out of a ditch.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was actually, I mean, I was proud of it. It made it out of the ditch.
It got some traction and it was
shit.
like, get up there. But when you look at it, it does look like it looks like less of a snake and more of a salamander without legs.
Right?
It really does.
Like the shape of its head and stuff.
I knew something was. I was like, didn't I say like something was off about him?
You were like, yeah, he doesn't look okay.
Yeah, I know he didn't evolve the way he didn't evolve fully.
No, somebody like cheated him
Straight
out of
up.
legs.
I don't know what he did to like the universe creator. It was like you're gonna be born with no legs.
Poor little guy.
Right, but he's doing his thing. We should have named him.
Okay, Brittany, I may have burned the rice just a tiny
That's okay.
bit. But it's not
I'm
that
gonna eat
bad. It's
I'm
gonna
gonna
be
eat
covered with curry.
Yeah, we're not even gonna taste the. It's gonna
taste
like
like
what?
you know how like popcorn
Smoky.
tastes when it's like a little bit overdone. It's
No,
gonna taste slightly like that.
I don't know what that tastes like.
What do you mean you've never had popcorn?
Popcorn that's overdone?
You know popcorn like the burnt ones at the bottom of the pot.
Okay.
Like they're just like a little burnt. Like that's what this has.
Okay, I think with the taste of the curry and all, it'll be just fine.
It's gonna be fine.
So.
Yes.
Yeah, Lele and I went on a hike. We saw some snakes.
Saw some snakes. We saw some birds.
We saw some
salamanders.
Some salamanders.
Some boaters.
Some boat. Lele was taking us through, and she's like, that's a boulder.
That's a boulder.
That's a boulder. And then
That's a
she would like
boulder.
point to a tree and say, that's not a boulder. Don't try to.
Don't climb that boulder.
Don't climb that boulder. So it was very lovely. It's funny because last night she was like, let's go on the hike, blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, hell yeah, girl. Because I love hiking. I would do I go hiking in like Cold Spring.
Which I didn't know.
Yeah.
Like we've never hiked together.
Mm-hmm. But I think it makes me feel really peaceful.
Yes.
And that's why I do it back home. But yeah, when she said hike, I was so game. But look, y'all, it was rock climbing. It was bouldering, if you're familiar with the sport. Lele's going to disagree.
It is not. It's not actually rock climbing, but it's like there are like rocks that you have to kind of like scramble over, and there's like little you're like negotiating corridors of rocks. I think it's super fun.
It is super
fun, but it is more like physically demanding than just like a walk in the woods.
Physically demanding more than I had thought. I thought that what I do up in Cold Spring, well, even that is demanding, but it's
I'm sure
it's like 5.3 miles. Like in Cold Spring, this was going to be 8.6, but I will tell you, within the first mile or mile and a half, did we even do a mile?
Oh my God, yes, we did, Brittany.
Okay,
we
yeah,
hiked for like, we left at 10 and we got back at like 1:30 or something.
Y'all heard it.
We definitely did some miles.
Some stuff. But Lele describes it as like scrambling over things, this, that, and the fourth. It was more than that. I felt like fucking Spider-Man.
I mean, I tried to prepare you yesterday. I tried to say like, this is going to be a physical feat. I was like, we can do it.
Yeah.
But like, we have to be prepared. We have to like bring food, water, like dress appropriately, have good footwear. This is not going to be just like a stroll in the woods.
Yeah, it was definitely not that.
It was intense and like totally could do it.
Your pace was crazy though.
It's really not.
Okay,
really
so
not.
like I was slowing us down, they would have let me go.
I'm just saying that like I was really happy to like take it, chill. Like we could have gone slower. It would have been fine. Like, but in any case, I'm really happy with the part that we did. We did like probably almost half of the loop.
They're so hard.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, the loop is called the 25, like, les 25 bosses, the 25 hills.
Bosses,
So you go up and down 25 times. So it's like, we had done maybe like 10 of those hills.
That's
so
honestly,
we still had quite a lot to
I
go.
will say, had we factored in the moments where we got off path a little bit.
What are you talking about? We never got off path.
Totally, there were moments where like,
for like
we
5
didn't
seconds.
see the red.
Yeah, for like 5 seconds, though.
Your timing is off, babe.
Okay, fair enough.
It's like 20 to 30
you know
paces.
What? I should shut my mouth because I hate it. I like, this happens in climbing all the time where you're like, oh my God, I did this thing. It was hard. And someone is like, that's fucking easy. I'm like, go fuck yourself, man. Like, and it's always man. I'm just like, just don't yuck the thing that I just told you that I did that I was like proud that I accomplished.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sorry. It's a feat. I expressed it last night. It was a feat.
I think.
And we did a part of the feat, not all of the feat.
I think if I did it next time, or when I do it next time, like, I will be more mentally prepared. Mm-hmm. Because I think that's just how things go. Like, I don't know, you try a thing, you realize you could do it a little bit, and then maybe you have more guts to do all of it next time.
Yeah, and like I think that's why I was trying to mentally prepare you. But of course, like doing it is the thing that's going to really like let that sink in.
Yeah.
Because it's a long hike.
It's
like,
super long. And it's dude, it's
15
demanding.
kilometers. It's up in hill. Like it's exposed.
Yeah.
You're in the sun.
And like they chart it out for you, so you follow these red lines.
Yeah, it's really well marked.
Yeah, really well marked. But like in certain moments, I was like, why did y'all do that? Like, why did y'all make us go through like all of those boulders? But it's fun.
Oh, like they could have gone around the boulders?
Right, we could have gone around.
Well,
they had us in there. What is the name of that movie?
If you want to know a piece of history about Les 25 Bosses,
Les 25 Bosses.
it was developed, like, I don't actually know when, but many, many years ago. Like, that trail has been around, like, it was around in the earlier 20th century, and it was developed by alpinists, like people in France who were trying to go climb the big mountains, as a training circuit. So they were literally trying to do, like, the hardest hills in Fontainebleau.
Okay.
They're like, give us the 25 hardest ones, link them up. And they would just like doing that, like carrying heavy bags in prep for like the much bigger mountains.
You could feel it. You could really feel it.
That's why they were making us go through the boulders.
The boulders. Yeah, that was
also boulders, beautiful.
They
beautiful
really are
boulders.
incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were really incredible. And then I really loved this so just after we, the near death moment we had with the viper. Truly, because if you had stepped on it, it would have been angry, and then you or I would have gotten bit. No, you would have gotten bit. I would have had to suck the poison out, and then we would have both been got.
Yeah. Yeah, then you would have been poisoned by my poison.
Then we just poisoned us.
And then we just both been there, all three of us. You mean the viper.
Viper's like, sorry, dog. You scared me. Truly.
After that near-death experience, you were saying?
There was this, like, patch of, like, how did you describe it? It's like white sandal beaches. You know how white sandy it is?
Yeah, it was like Sandals, Jamaica.
Yeah, it was like Sandals, Jamaica in there.
Yeah, it's a
like,
white sand beach. It's so crazy because like Fontainebleau, like many, many millions of years ago, was a lake. Now it's a forest, like largely covered in pine trees. And so like it's just, at least for me, it's not normal to be in a pine forest and be walking on sand.
Yeah.
But like that particular area, you literally are like walking on a path in a pine forest, and then you come out onto a clearing, and it's just like this huge white sand beach, like a couple rocks like scattered here and there. There's like a couple birch trees, but mostly just pure white sand, and that's crazy.
It's
like
super crazy. Like there were moments, I think you said it, that
I feel like you're on Mars.
You feel like you're on Mars for sure. You feel like you're on Mars.
White sand Mars.
Yeah. So that was so much fun. I'm glad. So we did get to a point like, we stumbled upon the map and we're looking up at it, and Lily's like, yeah, we're right here. And I'm like, fuck me. Like, it was like, I felt like we had gone a quarter of the way is what it felt like. It just like there was so much left.
Yeah. I mean, it looked like that on the map. But then when we ended up cutting across, we were like, oh, we're back in the parking lot.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, shit. That actually was, maybe that, I don't know. The map was like a little misleading. But that's what I was saying. Like, I think where we were, we had done like this loop that juts out of the loop. Back in. So it feels like you haven't actually crossed much territory because you haven't like moved very far along the loop, but you actually have walked a lot. You've done like a good amount of that for 15 kilometers.
For sure.
So anyways, for next time.
Yeah, for next time.
Yeah.
I remember like you were like, oh, maybe you were like, we can cut through. And I was like, now be straight. And then I take like 10 paces into the direction of the trail. And I was like, yeah, can we cut through? Yeah, can we cut through? Because I felt it in my body. I felt doom. That's what it was,
I'm glad you said that because, like, like I said, like, being out here, like, being in Font, it's just about, like, pleasure.
Yeah.
And if you're, like, nervous, like, you're going to hurt yourself, you're exhausted, like, that's just not the point of being out in this beautiful forest. We're not going to the Alps. We don't have training for the Alps to do.
We don't. You know what? So the theme of this month is where'd you come from? Where'd you go? But
this is so good. Do you want to try it?
Oh, I'm gonna eat it. I don't want to try it.
Okay.
I just want to eat it.
My bad.
Layla's making us dinner right now. I think we mentioned it's like a curry with rice.
It's Thai curry.
Burnt rice, as she calls it.
Popcorn rice.
Popcorn rice. My bad. But the theme of the month is where'd you come from? Where'd you go? And we're gonna get into it. But like, I do want to talk about what you just mentioned. Like, not wanting to hurt yourself. And like, just like, this should be pleasure. Like, this is supposed to be a nice time with the hike.
Yeah.
And so at one point, I think at that point, I was like, I don't want to hurt myself. Like, I was scared. I was like, if I get too tired, I'm going to injure myself. And so I kept that in mind. But I'm saying this because I feel like, and I asked you this a few moments ago, like, you seem to push yourself physically. And I find it really inspiring because y'all, we went rock climbing today, okay? We went rock climbing and we're driving back to get ice cream, I think it was then, or driving back home to the Chalet Monton. Le Chalet. And Lele says, oh yeah, I think I want to go to the gym later on. And I think my gut was like, yes, but then my mind was like, what are you talking about?
You didn't say that at the time.
Yeah, no, for sure.
You could have said that at the time.
No, but
yeah.
I mean, but like,
I
why?
haven't always been like this, but like it's just because I mean, we talked about this. Like I went through some rough years. The thing that got me out of those rough years was starting to climb again, because I had been a climber for many years, and then I stopped. I didn't really stop, but it became like it lost its passion for me. So I was basically only going once in a while, just climbing in the gym, like never going outdoors, and just not being very inspired. And the thing that like got me out of like my rough years was becoming inspired by climbing again. And not just climbing, but like being out in nature, being in sync with something, being in sync with my environment, with the world, with my own body. And one of the beautiful things about climbing is that it is a physical pursuit. Of course, it's for me, it's also spiritual, social. It is athletic, but it is like a way to interact with the world that is much more holistic than just a sport. For me. Not for everybody, but for me. At this given time. And so what that came with was like the desire to push myself physically. So I had never ever trained before. I had never trained to be a better climber. I had just climbed for fun and like tried to become a better climber by climbing, which is totally valid. People should do that. But like as a result of getting really into climbing again, I wanted to start training. And so I've been on like a training plan and yeah, it's just like one of those things that like once you start sticking with it, it just gets easier to stick with it. So like for me, going to the gym now, I mean, the reason I'm not that inspired by going to the gym and like lifting weights. It's just that my shoulder's a bit injured right now, so I can't climb as much as I want to. So I'm sort of supplementing that with more gym training than I would be normally. But yeah, I'm just in a rhythm where like I go to the gym pretty regularly. I have a routine. I enjoy it. I enjoy the sensations of pushing myself. It doesn't fatigue me. I mean, it fatigues me in the moment, but then it gives me energy. Like, it gives me energy for the rest of the day and for the next day.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like we're going to easily, like, come back to this, but, like, just to kick off the actual theme, when I said, where'd you come from, where'd you go, like, where did your mind go? Like, what did you think of?
Honestly?
Yeah, of course, honest. What else?
I mean, it went to, like, that annoying question. Where are you from? But where are you really from?
Ew.
But that's just like, you know, when people ask that question, so where are you from? Most people have like a pretty easy answer. I do not. Yeah. I have never had an easy answer. Regardless of being a mixed race, I've not had an easy answer because I was born in upstate New York. We moved like 3 months later, so I'm not really from upstate New York. We lived in France for a couple years when I was a toddler, and then we moved to London. Like, I'm not English. I lived in London until I was 10. Then I moved to Baltimore. I, like, went to middle school and high school when I was in Baltimore, and then I left Baltimore when I was 17 and moved to New York. And then, you know, we met at Purchase, and then I was living in the city, and now I live in France again. I have never spent more than 7 years in one place for my entire life. Most of the time, it's less than that. But now we're coming up on 6 years in France. I spent 7 years in New York. I spent like 7-ish years in London. It's not a simple question for me. Like I just tell people that I like lived in a lot of places. I tell them I'm American. Sometimes I'll say I'm from New York, but you know who fucking hates it when you say you're from New York?
The French?
No, New York City people.
Oh.
So like that's a tough.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah, and valid.
Yeah.
Like it's a thing to be from New York, and like
totally
I
is.
don't say I'm from New York City.
I'll
say that I'm from New York because I lived in New York
for
a big chunk of my life. I was born there.
Yeah,
I mean, despite the fact that it doesn't really count.
It does really have a feel to it. Like there are people like even so I was not born in New York, but I've spent majority of my life there.
You're from New York.
And so I say I'm from New York.
Oh yeah.
But there are people who were born in New York and say that they like, I don't know, man. They try to like be down. I don't know, it's so weird.
Oh, but they're not from New York?
They're from, so this is the thing. They're different kinds of New York. So that's why I respect that you say New York and not just like the city.
No.
Because there are people who will be like, yeah, I'm from the city.
I would never do that.
And then when you try to ask them certain questions or the way they refer to certain things, I'm like, babes, were you even, like, what are you saying right now? Are you even? Like, that's what you end up asking.
But you just know. Like, when
You
people
just
say
know.
you just know.
You just know. And then I'm just like, why are you being fraudy?
But I've heard New York City people say that even if you grew up in New York City and you weren't born there, then you're not from New York City.
I agree with it.
But then you're not from New York City.
Hey, and I usually say I am from the South. Like, I was born in Atlanta. Like, but when I tell you, you wouldn't.
But you're not from the South.
I'm not, but that's what I'm saying.
Nobody in the South claims you. That's what I'm saying.
Damn.
Nobody in Rochester, New York claims me.
You don't even seem like a Rochester. Not that you can seem like a Rochester. New
How
York
could
girl.
I? I was a baby. I was barely a person. I said this was dumb.
Is it done?
Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
Let it simmer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Thank you. Thank you for making us dinner.
You're so welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. We could do this all night. Don't play with me. Okay, so you hear that question, you're just like, I don't really know how to answer that, or like maybe your answer changes sometimes.
No, it's just that I like that question is so common. Where are you from?
Mm-hmm. And how do you feel when they say where you really from?
Oh, that's just annoying.
Yeah.
That's just obnoxious.
Who asks you that kind of thing the most?
White men.
Standard.
I don't know what else to say.
Super standard.
It's sometimes I'll get it from like well-meaning old people.
Yeah.
Who are just like they're like, oh, you're having a nice young life. Where are you really from? You know, they just don't know any better. But I do get it from.
Do you feel like whenever someone is asking you that they're actually just trying to ask you, like, what are you?
That's always what it is.
Okay.
They're asking me what my ethnicity is. Mm-hmm. And, like, yeah, that's why it's always white men. Mm-hmm. And I get it a lot in France, too. Mm-hmm. I think, like, in the U.S., I used to get it a lot. But, like, now with the woke movements, it's much less common, at least in the circles that I'm in. Mm-hmm. But in France, I get it pretty regularly. I got it at the gym, like, a couple weeks ago.
So in your most vulnerable state, like, and you're just sitting there meditating to yourself, whatever, if you were to ask yourself, where am I from? What do you hear yourself say? You still don't have it.
No, but it's like, for me, like, if you want me to actually go, like, I have given a lot of thought to this. Mm-hmm. A lot, of course. Because when you're mixed race and you're international and you move around a lot, everybody, whenever you show up in a place, everybody already has an identity, and you're like, oh my God, I have to fit in. How do I find an identity that works? Mm-hmm. So I've gone through all of the iterations of it. A lot of it was like when I was a teenager, trying to figure out what that was. In college also. Mm. So what I actually think is that question is very reductive, and even the people who have a simple answer are much more complicated than that. You're a great example, like, as someone who can say, I'm from New York City. Mm-hmm. You have so much more going into where you're from. What are the places that have informed you? Mm-hmm. So I just think that question, it's kind of like small talk, you know, people just throw it out. Like,
they want to relate.
What do you do? Where are you from?
They want to relate or, like, ogle.
Yeah.
One or the other.
So, yeah, I just think that the question is, like,
dumb.
Well, it's like, it depends. Like, if I'm having a conversation with someone, I feel like we're going to have conversations, we're going to be people who connect, then I will just tell them the whole story. I'll just be like, oh, I was born here, I went there, da-da-da-da. Mm-hmm. Because you're worth my time to go into that. If it's just small talk, then I'll just be like, oh, I'm from a lot of places. I move around a lot.
Fair.
Yeah.
And then as far as where do you come from, or as far as where do you go, or where did you go, or like where are you going?
Yeah.
What do you like? How does that make you feel when you hear about like your future and like where you're going and what you're going to be doing? Because I swear, like Lele has designed. We were talking about this the other day, obviously. Lele has designed her life in a very special way, where she has the ability to kind of move around and. Yeah. I don't want to say move freely, but like you have a certain level of flexibility that
for sure
you're lucky to have, but also like you've designed it, right? So like,
well, I mean, the design part is pretty recent. Like that is really since like last August, so like a couple months ago.
Fair.
And before that, I really was just like kind of going with the flow because like I was in school, then there was a pandemic and everything got fucked up, and then I was just like following jobs basically, and I really had like a crisis where I was like, oh my God. I have been nomadic. I have no stability. I have lost like most of my close friendships. I barely like ever see my family. My relationships are crumbling around me. What is going on? When did I make these choices? And it was like, I actually never made these choices. These things just happened to me, and I just kept going with the flow to the point where I've lost like I can't think of the English word. Like I've lost like foundation around me for all the things that like make me feel like me, that make me feel like a person, that make me feel excited to keep going have kind of gone away. And all I have now is jobs that are cool, but like that's not enough to sustain a person. And so after that crisis was when I was like, okay, if I want to keep this mobility, which it is a huge privilege to do the work that I do, crazy privilege, and to be this like unattached, I count myself so lucky. I like that I don't pay like a regular rent, that I don't pay a Wi-Fi bill, that I don't pay an electricity bill. My biggest like regular expense is my fucking phone bill, which is nothing. You know, I spend a lot more money on travel than the average person, and like I have to like, but like my life is very, very cheap. I don't make much money, but like I live very, very cheaply. And so that's a privilege. If I want to keep that, what are the things that I need around me in order for those things to happen? So like one of them was like community. That was like big number one. I need to have good friends, people that I can count on, who can count on me in my life on a regular basis. I need to have like passion. So for me, that was filled by climbing. And climbing also comes with community. That's part of it. But because I move around so much, it was like I had to make a decision to prioritize climbing with friends. Like I could just like buy a van and like live out of that and just like climb with a bunch of strangers in different places and do that. But no, I want to make the time and take the effort to travel, to climb with my friends, people who I care about, people who care about me. And then some semblance of stability, which I mean just fell into my lap by the grace of the universe in the form of this chalet. And these wonderful people who are hosting me here. And so yeah, luck was involved, some designing was involved, and then some of just like accidental, oh my God, when did this happen?
Have you always been that way? Because I mean, you're right, you lead like a simpler life than most, and like I think it's important. Like I wouldn't call you a minimalist. You're actually what I would like to think of when I think of the word as a minimalist, because like you really do keep the things that matter close to you, and that by way of like community, like people, friendships, and like objects.
Yeah.
Have you always been like simple?
Not as much as I am now.
Yeah.
It's been a conscious choice to like reduce. I mean, when you move around so much, you just get rid of stuff. Yeah. Like you just don't want to. You just don't want to carry all that stuff. So like, I have definitely become like much less materialistic, which is something that I've also cultivated in myself. Like I like that, and I know that like certain things I will make the effort of bringing them with me that other people wouldn't. Like I travel with a whole matcha set because it makes me feel at home when I'm in some random country doing this, that I can make my matcha in the morning. And that is a me thing, you know, but that makes me feel at home. But other than that, yeah, like I like to think of like all of my things serving a purpose for me. But other than that, yeah, I try and live quite minimally.
Simply.
Yeah.
It's very simple. I really love it. Like you guys should see this place. Like first of all, it's adorable as hell.
I know.
There's like flowers everywhere.
I didn't have anything to do with that. That's Philippe and Monet's.
Yeah, but I mean, this is what your circumstance is, right? So like there's like flowers everywhere. The birds are always chirping.
We're in the forest.
I guess we kind of are. I mean, we're in a suburb in the forest.
Well, what it's really like a village. Like I mean, I think there is a distinction between suburb and what we're in here, because like in the U.S. we don't have like integrated nature. What we have is like national and state parks that have been like sectioned off, and there you're not allowed to build. And that's not what a lot of Europe is like. Europe has been like just integrating itself into nature for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. So like, yes, you have this massive forest, but it's a lot less wild than a forest in the US is, because it's kind of just been like colonized by humans. And so yes, there are like houses on a street here, but it's still in the like ecological zone of the forest. And it's a little cuter than a suburb.
It's a little cuter than a suburb. It definitely is.
Yeah.
Definitely is. It's like, I just love being around so much greenery. Like I've spoken to like a few friends. I'm like, I hate the city. It's nasty.
That's you.
Dog pee
that
everywhere.
Sounds like you.
Okay, look. So I still I wholeheartedly believe this. Like, New York City is nasty, dirty. I'm not trying to be there for much longer.
It is
really
nasty and dirty, but it's also like full of the most amazing people in the world.
Which I really think that you should only, if I were the mayor, like, I would only allow folks to live in New York for a certain amount of time. Like, you have to either be grandfathered in, like your family's family, like your ancestrally, like it's just been handed down generationally, like you've been living there.
Okay.
Now, if you're new to New York, maybe like within the last 20 years, and you're like a transplant, you're only allowed to stay there for 2 years.
What?
There's so many, okay, look. Go with me on this. Just go with it, okay? Don't fight it. Go with it.
Okay.
So you're only allowed to live there for 2 years, every 5 years.
Oh, interesting.
And what I'm hoping for is for people to like see it as a place to develop and not stay. And it's always going to be a melting pot. We can preserve that. We'll always have fresh meat coming in.
But so what is it that makes you want people to like not stay?
First of all, there's too many damn people in there.
Too many people.
There's too many people.
That's what it is.
There's too many people, and there aren't enough resources. I keep joking about this, and like, I'm calling it Trader Joe's, but I just feel like there's not enough Trader Joe's to service this area. Okay, there's not enough Trader Joe's and Whole Foods and like grocery stores to service this area.
But Britt, I think that's like blaming the people for like, or like punishing the people for the sins of like the extremely wealthy. Like there are enough resources. They're just extremely badly allocated. Most of those resources are hoarded by a very, very few, like a very wealthy few, rather than them being distributed to the people. I mean, your idea of like 2 years and then 5 years, and then 2 years and then 5 years, like that's interesting for many reasons, but I think what makes a city great is people who invest time there. Like, what I hate about New York is that people come, they live their like crazy New York fantasy dream, and then they ditch, and like what have they done to like strengthen that community? What have they done to service those people?
For one, I mean,
I did that. Let's be clear. I moved to the city for a couple years after college, and then I was like, I'm gonna go to France. But I want to move back to New York City. I want to live there, and I want to like serve the community there. Like, I want to put roots down there. I don't know if this will happen. Like, if we're talking about where will you go, where do you go? Like, I don't know if this will happen, but like, I think what makes New York City like incredible, one of the most amazing places in the world, is that the people who have been there, who have invested in it, have invested in people, in each other. Like, the community in New York City, people have each other's back in New York City like nowhere else in the world. I've lived in a lot of places. I've lived in Berlin, I've lived in Paris, I've lived in other amazing capital cities. Cultural capitals. Think like cities that have a lot of things that New York doesn't have, like functional subway system and health insurance and all kinds of things. People do not look out for each other the way that they do in New York. I have a great example. I was in New York, like, I don't know, 2 years ago or something. And I was on a bus in Red Hook. Yeah. And the bus driver got lost.
The bus driver got lost.
It was like
you had one job.
It was like his first day or something. I don't know. The poor man. He's like up there and he's like, shit.
Oh, shit.
Fuck, I'm lost. And it's like, we're in that part of Red Hook where like, we're like close to the IKEA.
Yeah, nothing's down there.
And you like nothing's down there. There's like 2 stops. There's only 2 more stops left on the bus line. Yeah. And like within 30 seconds of him like being like, and he's not like shouting to the bus, I'm lost. He's just like mumbling to himself. You got like 4 ladies up there being like, oh, sweetheart, you should have turned right down there. You know what? It's going to be okay. We're going to go around this block and then we're going to get you back to the bus stop. You're going to drop us off there and then you're going to go straight. Don't take the first left. Take the, like they're not having a bad day. They're not pressed about being late. They're just like, we're going to help this poor guy out and we're going to get everyone off this bus. And we do, and everybody's having a good time. If that had happened in Paris...
Y'all would have been driving around for hours.
No. You would have had you would have had like a full busload of angry Parisians cussing this guy out, banging on the doors, let me out, get me off this bus, fucking idiot, doesn't know how to do his job, this country, just completely like losing their minds, complaining, pissed. And that's how Parisians are, and... we can hate on Parisians all we want. They've got their good qualities. They've got their bad qualities. They love to complain. But they would never, I can't say this scientifically, but I don't think they would ever help that bus driver in that situation.
Look, you're making great points. You lived this. But try this perspective on. Where you think I might be robbing or punishing folks because of, like, you know, others who have control over resources and this, that, and the other. I feel as though I am rewarding the families and the generations that have been in New York and that they are truly the ones that are responsible for making New York what it is, while allowing the transplants to come, spend their time and their money, develop. Come on, let's allow for some other transplants to come on in.
Brittany, you would be a scary dictator.
And y'all, I think I've said it before on this thing. I would totally do it. And I mean it in the best way. I think being a dictator gets a bad rap. But like, let's move on.
Oh my God, no, don't say it. Fascism is scary.
I know, no, I'm
so
not
scary.
joking. I mean, I'm joking, you know, a little bit.
I know.
But no, I just feel for like. I want everybody to win. I think that's what it is.
There are problems in New York. I wouldn't address them in the way that you would. I think it has to do with resource distribution, not lack of resources. You know, our generation has really, especially us, like coming from the arts world, we suffer from a scarcity mindset. We think that there is not enough to go around and therefore we need to compete. Yeah. We need to compete to get ours before someone else gets it.
Yeah, girl.
And that's actually mostly a myth. Most of the resources that we're competing for are things that are made by humans, not things that are finite. And so, like, in the city, I mean, I'm not a sociologist. I can't, like, combat this with stats and numbers and stuff. I have a belief that actually the world is an extremely generous and giving place, that the resources do exist. There is enough for everybody. And unfortunately, what we have capitalism, which incentivizes greed. It incentivizes knocking people down and keeping them down. And so you have a wealthy few who are in a privileged position and just cannot imagine what it would be to give a little bit of their wealth away.
What you're saying is incredibly true. Do you want to finish that? Did you have something else to say on that?
No, go on.
What you're saying is incredibly true, and I have to take a second to point out, like, a lot of what you just said, at least at the top of it, reflects who you are as a person. And remember the other day I was telling you about your light and such? So Lele and I met in college. I shouldn't do that. In college. At Purchase College, which is where I've met many of my, long-term friends at this point. And she has always been this sweet, on the kind side, thoughtful, honest, vulnerable, supportive.
Oh, I try.
Yeah, you totally try. You're doing it. You've always been doing it. I promise. Like, you've always been doing it. And you think better of people than they think of themselves. Like, you really do, I think, make people want better for themselves, actually. We were kind of talking about that a little bit earlier. And I think that's just so special. It's so special for you to think that the world can be a better place. I think it's... No.
You just make me sound like some hippie dippy.
Well, I mean, you are a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and come on now.
Well, I mean, I will say, like, I think part of it is also because I've been through rough times, and then I've had people, like, pull me out. I've had good people pull me out. And so it just makes you want to be hopeful after that, because there was a time when you had no hope, and then you got out. So it means that, like, maybe I was wrong then. Do you know what I mean? Like,
that's what makes me think you're special, though, because you had it before. Like, I think you had it also before very, very hard times.
Yeah, and we all do. And I think, like, yeah, when you're in those hard times, there's, like, nothing anyone can say to convince you that you're going to get out of it. Like, the world seems extremely bleak. And it seems like every day proves it to you how bleak it is, right? And then if you're able to, like, look back on those times, you can see that there was a flaw in your thinking. Yeah. That was actually a mindset. So it's just, for me, it's just now in this time, it makes me want to, whenever I have, like, an extremely negative thought, whether it's about myself or about the world, it does make me pause, like, oh, is that just a mindset? Is that just something that we've been telling ourselves or that everyone has been telling us?
Sure. I go for this. When I hear you like be positive, or like when I hear you like just talking, when you're just being yourself, I usually think I'm like a positive person, and I think
You definitely are.
I am, but I think it's my dynamic. I think it's when I'm in the presence of someone else who isn't feeling positive, I can be that for them. So I think that's why it seems like I'm a very positive person.
Well, do you think that, like I said this to you earlier, we were talking about another friend, that you're very maternal to her. But do you think that you're like that with a lot of people?
Absolutamente.
Yeah.
Absolutamente.
You are. You're a caretaker.
Yeah.
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 So I think like there's something about you that feels fulfilled when you're able to be a caretaker for someone else. And yeah, maybe it's like a thing that gives your life meaning. And so that is part of that is being an extremely positive ray of light.
I think
And
so.
maybe you need someone in your life to be that.
To
for
be
you
that
too.
girl,
Yeah.
go off.
Everyone
because
needs
that's
a
important.
caretaker.
Like therapists need therapists. Like everyone's got to have their person or a group or an anything like that.
You know something that it was Pamela who said this to us when we were in college.
Yeah.
It's one of the things that I remembered. She said like you have to be your own best mama. And she was like saying that like, okay, even your mother is gonna fuck up.
Yeah.
Like even your mother is gonna be bad.
Yeah.
You have to be the best mother to yourself that you will ever have. You have to learn how to care for yourself the way you want to be cared for. And I think that's such a good, important lesson. Because that also, the way you care for yourself models to other people how you want to be cared for. Oh my God, we're going deep.
We are. I mean, that's what this is. Now look, I'm gonna probably cut it right there because
You think so?
Yeah, because usually I get to a part. We're like, we're coming up on time here, but like usually I'll like kind of cue it up and say, hey, like, what have you kind of taken from this conversation or life? Like, tell me one piece of advice. Blah blah blah.
It just happened organically.
Because that's Lele. Lele does this.
We just go deep.
We go deep. That's true. That's super true.
Well, this was fun.
Yeah, it was.
I enjoyed it. It was like a regular conversation with Brittany, but like a little bit more crazy.
Arguably, I don't know. Depending, catch me on the right day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. Well, thank you, Lay.
Thank you, Brit. I love you.
I love you too.
Shall we eat?
Yeah, we're gonna eat. Let's eat.